That's what you sound like. Fantasy, fantasy, fantasy friends.
Fantasy friends, fantasy friends.
Oh god, that sounds like a straight '80s cartoon. Fantasy friends, fantasy friends. All right, welcome to the inaugural episode of Fantasy Friends. I am one of your hosts, Akimbo Merck. This is
Magellan, first official episode.
That's right. So let's first talk about how we got this name, Fantasy Friends. When a week ago we were named something completely different. What happened?
So this is a conversation actually took place, which I think you hid it from me for a while. Because the conversation.
You think I did? No, I didn't. I didn't hide it.
Because the conversation was, I believe it was Tuesday, so about 3 days ago or so, and we were talking about, we had shot the first episode, which we decided we were going to do as a prequel kind of thing.
Right.
And, it was called Save It for the Show. And so once you did the RSS feed and everything, and put it on Podomatic, and, I was actually, waiting in line for some food, and I checked the podcast app on, the iPhone.
Oh, yeah, iTunes, right.
Yeah, so I checked there. I was like, all right, podcast, and I put in Save It for the Show, and you're like, hey, before you search, and I was like, I already see it. And apparently we were so excited about Save It for the Show because it meant a lot to us that we actually ended up so in the excitement we lost the simple fact that we should have checked to see if that podcast was taken.
Right.
That name was taken.
Right.
And
the first thing we did.
Yeah, but we were so excited about it.
We were. Because we've been struggling to get a name, and we finally found one that fit our bromance, our friendship, and then part of our history of another show. But anyway, yeah, man, and so we ended up having to pick this name, Fantasy Friends, which was wild too, because gosh, we went through about 30 names it seemed like?
Yeah, it was a lot, yeah. And then whenever we said, it was like, hey, let's take a little bit of time, let's really brainstorm, because we were going to go with what we call each other, which we've always called each other.
Right.
You're Dan and I'm Chris. Yeah, but, we go by Merck and Magellan, and we were going to title the show that, and we gave a 10-minute window to come up with an idea,
right.
Or if not, we'd lock it in, and
right.
Came up with two really good ones, and I think one was taken.
Right, one was taken. But we Googled it this time.
Yeah, checked. Everything is good to go. Which
was actually weird because Fantasy Friends is a name you think would be taken because it could be used in so many different ways. So it was crazy that it was available.
Yeah, that's what it was so simple, and you would think, all right, well, yeah, it's got to be taken. It's got to be taken because of fantasy sports is so big now.
Right.
A lot of nerd and geek and things like that have taken. So you think fantasy would be something that would easily be taken, especially Fantasy Friends. And
right.
So it worked, and I think it implements a lot about our relationship and kind of, we got started gaming, and you guys can check out the prequel episode to get more of that information. But yeah, let's roll right into it. So we're actually, just to commemorate our first title, we're actually going to go to a segment we call Save It for the Show, which is basically just going into what we've been holding in, and it's so funny because there's things we talk about, but there's things that we hold back from each other because we want to save it for the show.
Right.
So we're kicking off the first segment, first episode. Join us on this journey. I want to pass it over to you, Merck, because I know that there's something. I want to pass it to you because it's been itching at me for the last hour and a half that you won't tell me. what's been going on.
Man, I have had the weirdest month. Man, maybe even 6 weeks, and it's crazy, man. I've been trying to figure it out. So, it all started with. Well, first, let me say this: I see everything through a lens of faith. To you up front, I believe in Jesus. I believe in the Bible. I believe in God. So I try to see everything through this lens of faith. So I had a panic attack. 6 weeks ago. I told you about that.
Yeah.
And it was triggered. I know I was stressed out, real stressed out, more than I had ever been. And when I look back on it, I can remember the signs. But went through that, and it was being triggered by a coworker, that I have to deal with, and there's no way of getting around it. So that coworker became a triggering point for my anxiety, which was crazy. So I fought to get that under control over the last few weeks. And I'm gonna be raw with you. The doctor gave me something. I can't remember what it was, but I took like 4 of them.
Yeah.
And it was kind of as needed. And that helped, which was weird for me because that meant I had to admit that I was vulnerable.
Yeah.
And
that's tough for guys.
Huh?
Well, that's tough for people, but for women who don't know, I'm not depicting one or the other as better than what, but I feel like sometimes men are harder to crack that shell of being vulnerable because, you are a man. You're supposed to be a supporter and a provider, and you don't want, your family leans on you.
Right.
So you don't want to feel like that. So I completely understand that you having to accept some sort of help.
Yeah. And it's weird because you're right. I'm the sole provider for a family of 4. So everything relies on me. So if I'm having stress at the job, you got normal everyday living stress, provided for your family.
Yeah.
And maybe coming up short on some bills. But then you add the fact that, okay, the only source of income that I have is now in jeopardy because I'm having issues with a coworker.
Which is your trigger point.
Which was a trigger point for me.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, I got some help, got that under control. But what irks me the most is I can't quite understand why I'm going through this. And remember, I see things through faith. So I'm saying, why am I brushing up against this person? But more, why am I reacting the way that I'm reacting? Why am I letting... Because I used to be real short with people. I didn't like people. I'll just be honest about it. I didn't like people. I thought people did silly things. I thought people worried about petty stuff. And this coworker is now worrying about petty stuff, and I have to work with this person. So it's triggering something to me that I thought I had resolved, and all I'm learning is, no, you haven't resolved it. You just haven't dealt with it in a long time. And so now I have to see how I'm going to react to someone now who I think is being petty.
Yeah.
So it's
I understand that.
The weirdest thing, man. Trying to figure out, okay, why am I reacting this way? Because I've been reacting horribly, like, screw you, I'm ready to walk off my job. Like the other day, I walked into my boss's office and just vented. He said, sit down, here's some water. And I just vented because I was so frustrated. I like to do things. I like to respect people. I like to trust people. I like to, I don't believe in micromanaging your employees. If you hired them, you know why you're hired them. Let them do their jobs. And some people think that you need to micromanage. You're talking about adults, 40, 50, 60 years old. We don't need to be micromanaged. You know what I mean? We know how to do this. We've been working for years. So just trust us to do it. Trust us to do it. And so this person's not doing that. And that is frustrating me as well.
Yeah.
And I know I'm rambling, and I'm gonna end it here, but to me it's like being in the kitchen cutting up vegetables.
Yeah.
Right? And then that person coming in and butting you to the side and say, here, do it like this. And the results are the same.
Yeah.
My way and their way are the same, but because they can come in and say, do it like this.
Yeah.
And it's unnecessary. It's driving me nuts. To me, it's petty.
So, and I think for me, it's pretty obvious, and I'm not gonna throw anyone under the bus here, but I think to me and people who are listening, it's pretty obvious of this particular person. and where this person is as far as associated to you work-wise, just based on some key things that you put off, which kind of sucks, because me, I do manage people, and there's that little bit where you got to do a little micromanaging when it calls for it, but then you got to back off and let people be grown-ups,
Exactly.
So, and the whole thing is, the whole thing that I've been thinking the whole time was, I wanted to know, when you said he sat down and gave you water, I wanted to know, was it in a cup? Did it have ice? Was it a bottle? Was it a mini bottle?
Was it a bottle? Was it spring water? No, it was dude, it was weird. It was a weirder thing. It was almost like I sat down at a bar and he slid me a beer. That's what the hell it felt like. I went in there, sat down, was mad. He said, here, take this, popped his fridge open, boom. Threw the water, slid it across to me, opened it, and he just let me go. And then when I finished, he was like, I agree 100% with everything you said, And he's like, and I'm lost for words. And I was just like, cool. I just really needed to get that off my chest. That felt good. And for it to be for your boss to let you do that, I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and then that's where he picked up the bottle, and then he took the cloth off his shoulder and started cleaning the bar.
Started cleaning glasses out?
Yeah.
But no, that's funny, man. That's what it felt like. Yeah, but you know what else, too? I had to sit back and examine, okay, is this a pride issue for me? And I tend to be humble, so if it was a pride issue, it would have been something I would have nixed right away. So I think this is more about my ego. This is more about me saying, because here's some of the thoughts I've had. I've been doing this for 13 years, right? And I've been doing this at this company for the last 3 years. My way works. Why are you coming in trying to change things? And that was all ego.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize I had such a big ego.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that comes with, you knowing your job, you knowing you,
right,
and how it's been working. But if it's been working this long for 13 years,
but I don't have to be egotistical about it, and that's what shocked me, that I reacted that way.
Yeah,
and I don't think that's not a healthy way to react. Like I said,
maybe you're just getting old and grumpy.
I am, dude. I think I really am. Well, I already don't like people, so.
Which I don't really want to wait for another 11 months or so. So, happy belated birthday for about 3 or 4 weeks, about a month now.
Yeah, about a month almost.
The big 4-0. So congratulations on that.
Please,
Well, you love chips. That's it. You love you some chips.
Right.
Fantasy friend. I didn't know. I thought you were. I thought all audio went through the headset.
We got that, buddy. It is going through the headset. Yours.
Oh boy. Fantasy friends.
I feel like a superhero cartoon. All right, brother. Bring us back.
We down to the crunch. All right. Welcome back. Took a little break. Gonna jump right into the topic. I'm actually super excited about this. I'm super excited. Not only that I'm super excited.
Oh, okay.
Like fantasy friends, excited. Like it. And the reason why I'm excited is because I'm excited that we're doing the podcast. I'm excited that this is our first official episode. And we're jumping into Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And Star Wars is huge, I believe it is not that. Star Wars in general is huge.
Right.
But right now, it is starting to gain a lot of momentum. And it's all due to, as far as I think the general population, it's all due to the movie.
Right.
That was announced. So, I mean, it's crazy. And one of the points I wanted to bring up with this whole, it's going to get wild. It's getting wild for a lot of people already. You got a movie, you got a game, you got merchandise, you got all these different things happening. But what's crazy is that and we're not, you're 40.
Hey,
and I'm about to be 30 here in a couple months. So we're not that far. We're not in two different generations.
Yeah, we're pretty close. 10 years is close.
Yeah. So you grew up, and me, I didn't grow up into it. I never thought anything negative about it. I never called anyone a nerd who brought it up. But I missed Star Wars. Growing up.
Loser.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's crazy because you went through the first Star Wars, which was episode 4, 5, 6. And you stoked about that. You got the toys. And then went on a hiatus in a sense. Then we bring back the first part of the first part of the saga, 1, 2, which is 1, 2, and 3 that comes out. And, I miss those too. Those were the times where I was kind of around the military and I didn't jump into the hype of it. So I think our friendship, when it came at a good time because it's been building up. Our friendship started about 5 or so years ago where all the Star Wars stuff cooled down. And now we're coming into this new era. And I feel like you felt when Star Wars first came out. Like, I feel like this is my Star Wars. It's like when you watch a team, when you're 5 years old and you watch the Cowboys win Super Bowl, you're like, oh, sweet, it's awesome. But it's not my team. I want to see my Cowboys that I've been watching all these years win. Same thing. I don't feel like I got to get a piece of that Star Wars action, and now I'm feeling like rejuvenate. Like, I'm feeling like this is my time. Does that make sense?
No, man, I think that's a great analogy. It really is because, so yeah, I got to grow up with the first 3, 4 episodes, 4, 5, and 6. Now the cool things about episodes 1, 2, and 3 is my first kid, who's 11 now. He was around the same age I was when these movies came out, so it was like for me, I was reliving it again. So I ran out and bought him all the toys. All the toys I had, and then all the new, toys that came out with episodes 1, 2, and 3. I filled this bucket up with Star Wars toys. But now, with the with the Force Awakens, I got another kid who just turned 4. So I get to go through this again with a new set of Star Wars. So Star Wars to me it's just been such a huge part of my life. It was, I think, the catalyst for me being the creative person that I am, because I used to, if I can remember, role playing with my older brother, 3 years older than me. We would role play being Jedis, of course, and we dressed up like Darth Vader for Halloween. We had all the toys. My parents, they kept us with Star Wars toys and G.I. Joes and all that stuff. So Star Wars has been such an intricate part of my life, and it has shaped a lot of who I am. And to get to be able to go through this a third time is just, I didn't even think there would be any after the first 3. But we're talking about a whole universe. Well, not even just 3 more movies. They're going to do a ton of movies, spin-offs and everything. So I'm excited too. I feel like this is new for me again.
And on top of that, with Nick being your now 11-year-old, back then he was probably too young to really understand a lot. So now he's at the age where it's going to make that huge impact to where this new generation is happening. And, it's all started, and I know a lot of people frown upon it. Some people like it or whatnot, but it all started when Disney in 2012 bought Lucasfilm, and they bought them for $4.05 billion. Now, I tell you what, they have probably already made that back up.
Oh, yeah. In pre-sales. Pre-sales.
It's ridiculous, because what they did is they said, hey, listen, we want to do something huge. We want to bring this back. This is so iconic. let's bring Star Wars back in a huge way. And they are bringing it back in a huge way. Because one of the first things that they announced to get this hype train going for the film that comes out later, one of the things that they said that in 2016 they're going to do in in Disney World and Disneyland in both locations, they're going to put 14 acres on both areas for a Star Wars land.
It's going to be amazing, man.
It's going to be huge. And I did a little digging and some fact work. So 14 acres. It's going to include a new a planet on the outer rim of space. It's going to be a new planet that no one's ever heard of that's going to be out there. And they're going to have two main attractions. And they're trying to keep a lot of this stuff secret, of course. But there are two main attractions. One of them is they're going to put you in the middle of this epic battle between the First Order and the Resistance. So that's one of their main attractions that they're going to do. The second big one, which I'm a huge fan of, is they're going to give you in some sort of fashion, however they do this, the second main attraction is going to be they're going to let you control the Millennium Falcon. So those two things in there are going to be in both parks, in California and in Florida. And then they're going to, of course, I'm assuming they're going to build ideas as they go and say, hey, well, we need this, we need that, we need to do this. And they just, Disney, whatever people think about them, they're doing Star Wars right, I believe. I agree, man. They're doing it right. They're getting it ready. They got right now, I believe, here in the next week, they're doing a Star Wars festival in Disney World and Disneyland, where they're turning these areas of the park into where you meet and greet characters, where they're turning one of their Space Mountain. It's called Hyperspace Mountain. And it's going to be, they're building it and making it to where you're actually in an X-Wing fight. So they're trying to they're pushing this Star Wars huge and in a big way.
Now, and I think that's great because I think George Lucas was tired of it and he was just sitting on it. And, when you look at the expanded universe of Star Wars, you could tell that the fan base was hungry for more, and so
Absolutely.
This was perfect, man. Disney taking it. It was perfect. For me, too, what I like about this, Disney, to me, has always been kiddie-ish. So I never wanted to go. I didn't even want to take my kids there. But this is a little bit more of my speed. So now I could go to Disney World or Disneyland and take my kids to see, Goofy and all of them. And then I got something that I can enjoy as well. So I think this is huge.
Be like, listen, Goofy, here's a 20. Watch them for about 2 hours. I'll be back. I'll be in Star Wars Land.
Right. Exactly. Meet me at Space Mountain or something like that. And so, but the other big thing that's coming out too is the video game, and that comes out about
Battlefront
the movie.
Yeah, it comes out in, I believe it's November 6th or so. One of that Friday, that first, I believe it is. I'm not 100% sure. But this was actually a game that people have been wanting for years and years and years. Do another Battlefront. Do another Battlefront. Do another Battlefront. You hear it year. I knew about Battlefront before I really dove into Star Wars. That's how much, and it's because I get into gaming and I get in that news and you hear it and I'm like, dude, what's Battlefront? Like, how good was it? How epic was it? And, and that game's coming out, and I didn't play the beta that they led a lot of people to. So I'm going to pass this over to you to take over and how you felt the gameplay was, how you felt when you're playing it. I mean, what is it? What would draw someone as a gamer? What would draw someone in as a Star Wars fan? What did you like about the little piece of pie that you got to play?
One thing. It really was. It was about great controls, because I thought the controls for Battlefront 1 and 2 were okay. I thought they were okay. They were all right. I didn't have too much complaints about them, but Control.
And so, before you go forward, can you just explain to people who don't know Battlefront what type of game it is? Clear that
It's a
Star
first-person
Wars,
shooter.
but
Yeah, it's a
okay,
first-person shooter, in the Star Wars universe, and that's what I was getting to. What really excited me about Battlefront was being able to be in the Star Wars universe again, one more time. The movies were done, so now I was able to kind of play in that world and role play in that
yeah,
world, with my character. And they even had it where you could use all the Jedis and the Sith. So that was a great game. It's not the best Star Wars game. The best Star Wars game was The Force Unleashed, hands down. That to
yeah,
me has been the best Star Wars game ever released because you get to design your Jedi, Star Killer, and design how you want to do his powers. It had like a bit of an MMO feel to it, but you really got to wield the Force like you were Yoda or the Emperor. The shock
yeah,
lightning, the choke, the throw, all that stuff you got to do, and you got to customize your
yeah,
lightsaber. So to me and you get to fight against Darth Vader. So to me that was the best Star Wars game that's ever been made. But that's the draw for me. Just being in that world, being in that universe. That's what excites me.
yeah.
That's why I ran out and put a deposit down on the deluxe edition, because that's what it means, a piece of my childhood to me. I get to get another piece
Yeah,
of my childhood back. So
yeah. So your biggest thing in there is the controls are smooth and it's a first person shooter, but it's the simple fact that you feel like you were plopped in the Star Wars universe and you get to battle
exactly.
with the Sith, against the Sith, with Jedi, against the Jedi. Like you get to fight with the New Order or against the New Order. Like you get to be a part of that. And do you think that's going to draw in more people to game that wouldn't normally pick up a first-person shooter?
It'll draw in gamers who play other first-person shooters. I don't think it's going to have a huge draw for non-gamers. People who aren't gamers aren't going to care about this. They're going to be more into the movies and the merchandise.
Now, do you think that people who are not necessarily who aren't big fans and who haven't or are not wanting to try first person shooters, do you think their love of Star Wars could bring them in?
You gotta be
to this. Is it that?
It's a cold world in the first person shooter realm. You gotta be a gamer to get any enjoyment out of it, or you'll just be upset, constantly getting your butt kicked. So
yeah. But you're Darth Vader. I don't care. I keep dying.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and going off that point that you just brought up, where non-gamers are going to be more focused with the movie and the merchandise, they're pushing merchandise hard. I've never seen so much Star Wars stuff in my life.
Yes.
Everywhere.
Well, that's part of it. It's Disney too, though. That's Disney's marketing. So
exactly. Yeah, I mean, they have it everywhere. And I can tell you this. When I have 2 dogs, 2 Jack Russells. And whenever I saw that they made Star Wars Halloween costumes for them, we don't normally dress them up, anything crazy. We'll use them as props or something, but I saw there was one, they both have personalities, but usually I have to get on to the smallest one, which is Noodle, a lot more than Twister, which is the bigger one. So I decided, out of the uniforms that they had, that I would get Noodle the Darth Vader costume, and I would give Twister the Yoda costume.
Oh my God.
So, but that just goes into the marketing, that hit me as a pet owner who loves his pets. You walk in and, you walk into another all pet store and you have toys, chew toys, Boba Fett chew toy and, R2-D2 stuff and, little treats that are shaped and, you got, I mean, everything, man. You clothing wise, you got onesies for
Now I'm gonna tell you,
adults where you
here's
can,
something interesting about all the stuff you're naming. As
yeah,
um a Star Trek purist, some of that irks me because you would
yeah,
have never seen this stuff back then, where all these plush dolls. A lot of this is Disney, the plush dolls, the little cute Star Wars figures, and all of that.
yeah,
I as a kind of a purist,
yeah,
I don't know, man. I don't know how much I care for that, but I get it. It's for the kids. Star Wars has always been for the kids, and maybe because I'm older,
yeah,
I'm being a little bit more grumpier and just want it to be for adults.
yeah, yeah. And that's the thing. That's a good point because on one of the, not this podcast, the podcast that we initially started from together, that we were on together, another different one, we kind of got into that a little bit, which was talking about, fans of the original or the first part of a generation
Right.
of something. It's almost hard and it's almost natural for them not to want to open up to newcomers because you're like, well, back in my day or back when I was watching it
Right.
originally. And it's almost a natural feeling to say, well, look at all these newcomers, all the noobs are coming
Right.
in. And for me being on the other side of the spectrum, I missed it. So for me, all this stuff, and me, man, I'm a
Heck
kid
yeah.
at heart. I'm almost 30 years old, but I still buy toys. I still buy onesies. I still buy
Onesies.
all this stuff and it's cool, man,
You
because I
still
could
rocking
rock
onesies?
a onesie in my size in Chewbacca. I could walk around like a Chewbacca, feel comfortable. It's wintertime. I could take the
You
dogs
just can't wear
out,
that.
and I'm feeling good and I'm looking
I'm not
good.
gonna let you get
You
away
know what
with
I'm
saying you
saying?
just rocking onesies. You can give that up, buddy.
Rocking
Man, I don't know what
onesies.
that's all about, but you keep that off the air, buddy.
And one of the things too, man, merchandise wise, that I'm really, really getting into is Star Wars has a lot of
Uh-huh.
toys. They have Disney's pushing a lot of toys. There's one thing that Disney has been pushing, or that Star Wars has, and it's called the Black Series, and it is their more
Racist.
articulated 6-inch figures.
Sounds racist.
And so
Is
I've
it like Finn
actually,
and Billy D. Williams and those people?
well, yeah, what it is, what they've been doing is they'll bring those characters into, and they look super nice. They're
Nah,
super
man, I was talking about it
articulated.
just being all black characters in the Star Wars
Uh,
universe. You totally missed that.
yeah, they
Totally
got,
missed that, bro. Terrible.
yeah, they got Finn, uh,
Oh! To cut you off on purpose.
Cloud City.
You were talking about Finn and being able to find the Finn action figure. So, dude, check this out. Yesterday,
Mhm.
I'm in the dollar store to get
Yeah,
candles, and of
yeah,
course, I got to go to the toy section, and they got it.
yeah.
Like
Do they have the
they
Black
had no,
Series,
but these were
fam?
like the not the 10-inch size ones. They had that. They had Vader. And then they had
Yeah,
some other the smaller, the 5.5 or whatever the heck it is. They had those as well,
yeah,
but they
yeah,
were $8, and that's the cheapest I've seen them.
yeah,
And they were Hasbro.
yeah,
So man, if you're looking for some Star Wars action figures, make sure you check these little places like Walgreens or your local pharmacy or
yeah,
like your dollar stores, because they carry some toys that are gonna be unique to their store and people
yeah,
are gonna
absolutely.
realize to go to these places to get these toys. So I was excited yesterday to see Finn, man. I was like, yeah, payday, I'll be back for that.
Yeah, 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 man. And that's a good point because these toys, I've been getting season's or this year's Black Series, which is a black box with a red
Right.
interior. And they're labeled 1 through yada, yada, yada. Right now, they're all the way up to, I think, 9. So I got the first 5 of the series, which is the
Okay.
first wave, which actually has the characters of this movie. It's got Finn, it's got Rey, it's got Kylo Ren
Mm-hmm.
in there. It's actually got the new Order
Oh, that's so
stormtroopers and
sweet.
how their design is. And then they got Chewbacca. They got Chewie in there as well because he'll be in the film. And dude, it was super hard finding these characters. And like I said, you can find them, and you can find the 3 inches, and you can find certain, but the Black Series is really sought after because of it's more of a adult type collector versus a kid. Most people want to sit in a box, and I'm not that guy. You know me, I don't care what it costs or what it is. I'm ripping it open, and I'm going to play with it, and I'm going to display it. It doesn't mean that much to me on that keep it pristine, but it's all part of the chase for me because I haven't felt like this since I was a kid where I need this G.I. Joe. I want this Batman, right now. And it appeases me because I'm looking for very specific action figures. And I had them down, and they're not available online. You can't get them in stores when they're sold out. And you're right, there are stores who sell this Black Series that you wouldn't think. Walgreens does. People like Toys R Us, people like Target. But Walgreens is a huge one because no one goes on the toy aisle at Walgreens. You're not going there to shop toys.
That's just because.
So,
because where I am.
But it's cool you bring that up because I found 2 figures and I couldn't find any of the other ones. Went to Walgreens, bam, there they all were. There's the rest of the way for me. So, and it's just about the chase, man. I feel like, okay, I want this. I need to chase it. I need to find it. I want it. And, that's why I'm super excited about this Star Wars. I never got to feel this way about Star Wars before. Now, rolling into the film, I don't know if you want to take a break before we start getting into the film and kind of what caused the hype,
or if you want to. We're here to break.
Okay.
There we go. All right, so we're not going to talk too much about. We got about 20 minutes left. We're not going to talk too much about the original 3, and the next ones after that, and whether they were good or bad. Episodes 1, 2, and 3. We're not going to talk about that. What I really want to talk about is the trailer.
Just you saying that we're not going to talk about if 1, 2 were bad or not just clearly defines what you think about it. So that's all I'm going to say on that. So to the trailer for episode 7, which is The Force Awakens.
I enjoyed those episodes. Because it was Star Wars. I didn't go in with no expectations like I think a lot of people did, but I enjoyed being able to see another part of the universe that I grew up in. So I have nothing bad to say about, those 3 episodes, so even the Jar Jar thing, I totally understood. So I get it.
Yeah.
But I really do want to talk about this trailer. So this trailer, they released the final trailer, and I think it's 3, right? There was a teaser, a trailer, and then this final trailer. And so everybody's seen it. I watched it probably 10 times straight. By the second time, I was choked up to the point that I might have had a thug tear. I'm just saying.
Okay. I'm going to stop you there. Choked up. Choked up to me is after the second trailer, I picture you not being able to clear your throat, needing some water, not being able to really speak to anybody because you felt there's so much emotion there. And thug tear, I mean, I want to say that, whatever you want to call it, a tear is a tear. Got allergy, chopping onions earlier.
I was chopping onions, man.
So was it a tear that rolled down your cheek, or was it a tear that just hung
down the side of my cheek as my eyes welled up?
So it was an authentic tear with eyes. So what was it about second time through the final trailer, correct? Was it final trailer?
Yeah, the final trailer.
That we're talking
what got
about.
me, I think, what struck me emotionally was Finn. I never thought that, even after seeing Mace Windu, that we would get to see a lead Jedi that's black. And this is important to me, if you haven't figured out yet, I'm black. So it's important to me because, like I said...
Whoa, hold on, time out. You're what?
You better look in the camera. Big black guy. But
hello?
Here, I'll prove it. There.
Wow.
But, I grew up role-playing as a Jedi, and here I am on screen now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm on screen now. So
I know what you're saying.
And
Yeah.
that to me struck a chord with me. It struck a deep chord with me because I thought I'd never see that. And then just for the universe itself to be back, Han Solo, Chewbacca, they did it right. They didn't bring in a bunch of people we didn't know. They gave a nod to the past and brought back the originals, man. So this movie, I don't know how you say it, the way it was filmed, it looked real. It looked like the originals. It didn't look anything like the episode 1, 2, 3. This one looked like the originals, which to me was like, wow, we never left. We just kept going. After Darth Vader died, the world just kept going, and now I get to really see what happened. And that hit me too, man. That hit me hard too. But I think just the fact that it's really back and it's really happening, it just hit me emotionally.
Man. No, I completely understand that because I might not have gotten as choked up with as you did, but it was just an overwhelming factor that came over me because I'm here, it's happening now, and it's just so well done, I think, is the biggest thing. And for a lot of people that don't know, J.J. Abrams is actually the one who's directing this film. He is actually the one who originally he wasn't supposed to be, but the guy, I don't remember his name, before production started got pulled from it, and J.J. Abrams actually got to help write it. So that was huge because J.J. Abrams he's a fanboy. Something that I love is that if you can bring a true fan in, they're going to not only stick to what works, but they're also going to expand it in the right direction. And that's what I feel with fans that you get that passion behind it. And he's showing that because, like you said in the trailer, it looks real. It seems like the real movies. And that's a piece of what made Star Wars so iconic is built sets, built ships, costumes. There wasn't green screen. Everybody makes fun of it because you have the fishing line with the straws, as the lasers, and people are making fun of that, but a lot of that stuff is what is introduced, and this is what we're not going to go into too far into it, but this is why I feel a lot of people, including me being a newer fan, I didn't like about the episodes 1, 2, and 3. I felt it was too much computer animation, too much green screen, and it wasn't authentic.
Like a fake pair of boobs is what it looked like. It looked like a fake pair of boobs.
Yeah.
And I think that was the problem.
And I've never felt a fake pair of boobs before. I've never felt a fake pair of boobs, so I don't know if they feel.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I'm closing my eyes, and my hands are your hands.
That's creepy. So Kylo Ren is, I had an epiphany because, for so long I've been watching this trailer. I've been thinking Kylo Ren is the guy that's in black, who's talking about carrying on, or finishing what Darth Vader started.
Yeah.
In the trailer.
Yeah.
And then when they dropped the poster and they dropped the trailer, and we still haven't seen Luke, I started to wonder, could that be Luke inside of that, the enemy's outfit, the main enemy's outfit?
Yeah.
His black. Yeah. Could that be Luke?
Could it be Luke?
I mean, I think. Then I saw a clip where they were talking about Luke or Mark Hamill pitched to George Lucas, allowing Luke to be on the dark side.
Yeah, an evil Luke.
So
yeah.
I'm just wondering if J.J. Abrams said, let's roll with that.
It's a possibility, man. There's a lot of possibilities, and that's what makes this so good in the generation that we're currently in with the technology that we have. Because of you running next door, going to school, and talking about the new Star Wars or whatever's coming out, now you get all these thousands, and do I dare say millions of people who are all saying, okay, well, this is awesome. We're all hyped up. Let's dig into it, because everybody now wants to dig into it. And so you start having these different things go on. You know, you got these characters here, and you got this film that we know 100% that this film, which I think is awesome, it's episode 7, which is right after Return of the Jedi, which is episode 6, which is the last one of the first 3 original. So I think it fits very well with where the film was and where it's going now. Now, this is 30 years after the Battle of Endor, after that huge battle on Return of the Jedi. This is 30 years after. And one of the reasons we know why is because the actors, you know, we know that they wanted them in this film. Right. And I believe it's to almost say, here's a nod to you guys. Thank you for all that you've done through not only the filming, but throughout all the years of work you put in for these Comic-Cons and for these panels and for all these things. Thank you for everything you did. And it was almost handing the torch to the new generation, which we'll get to see.
You know, I didn't think about that. I didn't think of the passing of the torch, but it is. It's laying to rest the ones we're familiar with, and I think it's a great way to breathe life back into the series. So,
yeah, no, man. I mean, it is, and you know, there's a lot of things that are happening in this movie, and I know that's what you were getting at with Kylo Ren, as far as being Luke, because there's a lot of people who are talking here, and these people are actually talking about, who's this, who's that, who exactly is Finn, who's Rey, and break down a little bit. Finn is the black actor who takes off his helmet. Well, the reason why I say that is because the reason why I say that is because it actually kind of turned some people off.
You got backlash. You definitely got some backlash from it, man.
Is that can we coin that term? Or is that already?
I didn't. Yeah.
Okay.
Backlash. You got backlash, man, and so what?
It's just blasphemy. You know what I mean?
That one we can't coin.
Coin it.
No, Trademark. It does happen. It happens all the time, man. Like it just happened with the Fantastic Four when they made the Human Torch. A black guy. So you know what? Get over yourselves. Seriously, that's the way I feel about it. So,
Yeah, no, I mean, because in this time and age, you shouldn't worry about that. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to speak too much in it, but take it for the talent that is there and for what this person is going to do for the future. Don't take it as, look at the skin tone. He shouldn't be who he is. He shouldn't be a lead actor.
Like I see myself in the universe in Finn. I think a lot of people were looking to see themselves in the universe too, through Luke Skywalker, like they did through Luke Skywalker and Anakin. So they don't have that yet. But I think you guys, if you're patient, I think the one pilot, the X-wing pilot, Poe, I think he's a Jedi too.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's
and that's
and Leia's son.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to talk about is the characters here. So far, we know Finn. We don't have to go too into details. I mean, there are some details there, but most of it, everybody's keeping pretty secretive, and it's all about people's opinions more than anything else, and what they're coming up with. Yeah, exactly. I mean, so we got Finn, and exactly what we talked about. He is the guy who takes off his helmet. In the desert. Then you got Rey. Rey is the female who you also see in the desert in the trailers, who is scavenger, parts. And then of course you got Kylo Ren, who is who is portrayed as the enemy in this film. And then you got who you talked about, Poe Dameron. Here's what's really cool about this, and I'm kind of glad we got a little bit into that. I'm glad we kind of raised a little bit to that Finn, that nod for Finn, because Finn's black, okay? Rey's white. Now Poe Dameron, believe it or not, I found out he is
Go ahead, man.
He is he is Hispanic, and what I realized, Yasmin, my wife, actually pointed him out as a famous actor before this. And he's actually Guatemalan, which is huge. I know.
Poe's a great actor, man. He was in that movie, Machinima? Ex Machinima.
Yeah.
Ex Machinima. He was the creator of the robot. Excellent actor, man.
Yeah, man, and he is portrayed in the movie, and like you said, a lot of people think he's this and that and this, and right. But one thing is known is that he is he is the best living X-Wing fighter.
Now, where you get that from?
Yes, he is portrayed as, I've got it from an actual J.J. Abrams kind of a panel, and some of the things that they've talked about, and he is, I don't know if this is 100% true or not, but it can't be true. Because I'm just thinking 30 years later, he wouldn't be the age he is. Because I was thinking, some people think that he was a part of the battle, which in this case he wouldn't be, because then he'd be super old or older than he is.
50, 40, 50 maybe. Yeah,
Yeah. So, I mean, who knows? He could have been, if you think about it, depending on who he is, he could have been one of those.
Padawans?
He could have been one of those young cats.
Listen, let me break it down for you. I don't. That's the age don't work right. The ages don't line up. I'm gonna tell you who I think this guy is, and I think I'm 99.9% right. I think Poe and Rey are brothers and sisters. I think their parents are Leia and Han Solo. I think they were separated at birth because they knew they were Jedis and they wanted to keep the secret hidden from the Empire that still exists. Now remember, the Empire still existed. You lost Vader and you lost the Emperor, but the structure was still there.
Yeah.
The war wasn't over. The structure was still there. So I think that's why I thought it was best to hide them, just like she was hidden. So that's what I think those two people are.
And it's definitely something that you can interpret from the film and just based on kind of what a formula is. But I also know that J.J. Abrams wants to, whether he hasn't denied it or said anything about it, but he wanted to keep traditions, but he wanted to break some up to have that new feel to it, to have that surprise that a lot of people, if you weren't too deep into it, a lot of people like to kind of go through the film and they're like, oh yeah, I remember reading that. Oh yeah, so this is true. And this is, he wants to throw some people off. And so, I mean, dude, there's just so much, and just going off the trailer itself, someone made, and I don't know, and I wish I knew who it was who did it originally so I could do a shout out.
What's wrong with you, man?
No, nothing.
You tickling yourself? What's going on?
He's over here making faces. But whoever it was put these trailers together, these 3 trailers, and they actually did it. Dude, they actually did it in a... Yeah. Sorry, I got the bubble guts. So, but they put them together, and he actually chopped them up and did them in a way where it's not just the teaser, the trailer, and the end. He did it in a way to where it really put the film in a structured stance and where it kind of made a lot more sense. And one of the key things that I'm actually one of the things I think that I want to find out more than anything is I from what I get from the trailers, that Finn and Rey, who we talked about, meet on this planet. Whether he gets stranded or whatever happens, or he wrecks or crashes, I don't know what happens, but she's there, and clearly she's some sort of scavenger or something, or a collector of sorts. So then they meet on the planet, but then them two also meet Han Solo and Chewie on the planet. Right. And what I got from the trailer is that they are actually in search of the Millennium Falcon.
That's what you got, huh?
So that's what I'm thinking is, okay, we could go on the more comedic side and say that, hey, listen, he lost it in a race. He lost it in a bet of some sort, you know. He lost it. Yeah, he lost the gambling, you know. But then you want to think, okay, well, maybe it was something more. Maybe he just didn't pay his debts to somebody, or I mean, I don't know if 30 years after Han Solo actually grew up, because
I can't see that.
Back then he was.
I can't see him being just a dad who's at home smoking a pipe, you know, rocking, you know, his kid. Nah, yeah. Han got to be out there, man. He got to be in the mix. The Falcon still had life in it, you know.
Yeah, so I mean that's what excites me for just kind of getting into it. And then I mean there's so many things that we can get into, and honestly, I mean I want to say, I don't know if you're feeling it or not. I don't know if we should do our second episode as a Star Wars part 2.
Let's do this, because there is so much more to talk about.
A lot more to talk about.
Let's talk about it.
Okay.
So let's give time for some stuff to take place. Maybe some more toys to come out. See what some of the hype is like. Because, you know, Black Friday is coming up, so you know you're going to have some sales and some deals.
Yeah.
And, you know, the game's coming out, too, so we could talk about that. So we'll save the part 2 for, I don't know, episode 4 or 5. But go ahead and we've reached our limit. You know.
Yeah.
Time to kick you people out of our living rooms.
Yeah, we are staying on a time structure here. We don't want to overrun it too far, because we have the habit of making 3 or 4 hour podcasts.
Terrible.
So
it's because we like ourselves.
It's because me personally, I can hear myself talk for hours.
You just put the podcast on replay, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I'd sleep to it.
Drive to work to it. Listen to it while you're on the toilet.
Exactly. So
mow the grass. You're listening to it in church with your headphones on.
Yeah. It's like, man, here comes that joke. Here comes that. Yeah, I nailed it. Yeah, I nailed it.
To get to the other side.
But yeah, I mean, dude, I'm having a blast. I had a blast talking about Star Wars. I actually can't wait until closer to the film, where we would have already played Battlefront and be out by then. I'll have more of my collection by then. We'll probably hear more about it. Ooh, I could talk about one of my new pursuits. With the job. I'm not even going to get into it right now. Let's just say it involves a wearable TIE fighter pilot helmet. So
this don't sound good at all.
So
that sounds sexy though.
But yeah, usually when we close out, it's been like you said, your week has been, you know, your last couple of times has been kind of sporadic and all over the place, and we wanted to shoot this because we want to stay on a schedule. We want to get a podcast out, and we will get a podcast out every week. Usually we'll jump into what we're going to talk about next week. I apologize because it's something that with my week as well, we didn't get into. So I'll take the hit on that. But we will have another episode for you guys next week.
Where can they find us on the social web?
On the social web, you can find us on Facebook. Oh, yeah, that's right. I just set that up, too. Ooh. I just set it up. Facebook on Fantasy Friends Podcast. You can find us on Facebook. You can hit us. Yeah. Like us. We're going to be talking about a lot of different things. We're going to focus on things we talked about the podcast to kind of keep it familiar for you guys. And we're going to do what I want to do is do some sneak peek stuff for the next episode and throw out some stuff there. Yeah, kind of lead. If you got questions of what you want to know, what Merc ate last night, and or if mine was a solid or a squishy dump.
TMI. You can direct message him about bowel movements. I don't want to hear about
it. and you can find us on Twitter. This is actually pretty funny, and then we'll end it. Twitter, I actually came up because Fantasy Friends is taken. Fantasy_Friends is taken. So I had Fantasy Friends P, and I was like, I just don't feel it. It's not ringing. So
what the hell is the P for?
So for podcast.
Oh my gosh.
So without actually going with you,
about P. Dude, I'd have never let you live that down. Two friends fantasizing about P. Well, what's the P for? Podcast, obviously.
So what I did is our handle for the show on Twitter is.
I want to hear this.
It actually sticks. I like the ring to it.
Or it stinks.
It's
you can't even say it. This is horrible. This is horrible. You can't even say it.
It's fanfrypod.com. It's fanfrypod.
No, it's not.
So it's
no, it is not. It is not fanfrypod. No, it's not. I refuse to believe that you selected that title, dude, for our Twitter handle.
As it stands for episode 1, it is Magellan and Merc at fanfrypod.
Frypod? I can't even say it.
It's FAN. I took the 3 first letters of each word. So I put fan for fantasy, fry for friends,
pod
for podcast. Fan fry pod. It looks good on the shirt.
Fan fry pod.
People are like, oh yeah, fancy friends.
Yeah. All right, people. Thanks for tuning in. We will see. Actually, we'll be back next week.